is Dr. Joseph Koli Juguna. I work at Kalro HRI at Thika. This new variety we want to showcase, we have developed at the Institute, which were developed about 5 to 10 years ago. The idea was to address a major challenge we are having of apples not being very productive in this country. The old varieties are of very poor quality, and to meet the demand, we have been forced to import from other countries like South Africa and Egypt, and we felt there is need to introduce new varieties that would be able to address that challenge, and farmers would also be able to earn some income from them. The challenge with the apple production in tropical conditions like here in Kenya is that if they are of high chilling requirement, they produce very tiny fruits, they are very erratic, and the quality is not good. So we are trying to get a variety that would be able to produce even in areas where chilling conditions are not available, and that would even spread the production area beyond the traditional area in high altitude areas. The issue with the production of apples in cold areas is that the quality is not very good because they mature at a cold condition and they are not able to have the adequate heat unit to make them sweet enough. But now with these varieties, because they can grow in high altitude, medium altitude and low altitude areas, even where the chilling requirement is not so high, they will be able to accumulate heat units and be able to be sweet and as good as the imported apples. Initial material we got from California, we are still retaining those names. One of them is called Braiban, another one is called Fuji, and the third one is called Gala. These are some of the varieties that Kalro has worked on, which were introduced about 10 years ago. Research was carried out at HRI, Thika. This one is called Braiban. It is quite big in size, red, crunchy, stores very well for more than 3 weeks in ambient temperature. It can store much longer, up to 6 months in a cold room. It is doing very well in the market. It's now at commercialization level. Traders are preferring it over the imported ones because of the size, the shape, and also the aspect of crunchiness, which is a major consideration by consumers. This one has been here for around 3 years. You can see already there is heavy production. We expect optimum production in around five years. So there is a very high potential. The market is very receptive. The price is very good. The aim is to reduce the amount imported, and we replace that with locally produced apples, because farmers will be able to get some good income, but also the traders will be able to access these fruits very easily and even at a reasonable price. This variety is called Fuji. The texture of the skin is a little bit more smooth compared with the other varieties which have been researched by Kalro. The goodness with the Fuji is that it is very, very sweet. It's the sweetest, it is crunchy, it doesn't grow very big, but it has very good eating quality, and the market is really looking for it. So we expect with the time, together with the other varieties, it will be adopted by farmers, and slowly we will be able now to supply market from the local production instead of imported fruits. This variety, and again another one that was introduced by Kalro, is called Gala. It is variegated more than the earlier one, Brabant. The size is not as big as the Brabant, but it is very sweet and crunchy. It has been found to adapt very well in medium altitude and high altitude areas, but also in fairly low altitude zones. It's also doing quite well. The beauty with these varieties is that they are as good as the imported ones. They are even bigger in size. They are crunchy, they are colored, the shape is good. And I think that's why the market has been very positive. They have been received very well. And we expect that to continue as we continue to upscale production. With the research now, we are at a level of commercialization. There are already farmers who are producing these varieties, and they are very happy because they can now get some income from them. From the market perspective, traders are quite receptive because they can now get apples locally at a good price, and they are able to satisfy the need of their customers. We have actually developed agronomic requirement for these varieties in terms of spacing, in terms of pruning, in terms of nutrition, which have led to improvement in terms of productivity. For farmers who would like to optimize on production, pruning is very crucial, and this also determines when the apples are coming to production. Pruning is done after harvesting as a preparation for the next season. It is done by removing all the dead woods, dead stalks. Those which are infected, they are all removed so that you have a clean plant. The other very important thing is to open the center to allow for air circulation. So any branch that is crisscrossing the center is removed. Then it's also important to look for spurs which will produce fruits. This is they are normally shorter. We call them, they are shorter stems, unlike these long ones. These are the ones that will give you a crop. So you have to spare them. Otherwise, if you remove them, you'll be left with just vegetative fruit which will never give you anything. So you can see these are the stalk. So open up the tree, then cut it at the top. Let it not grow beyond 5 meters. That's the maximum. That is necessary for ease of management, spraying, and all that. Pruning, we are using it as a way of determining when you are going to get a crop. So you can now time the market when you have market, and you count backwards 4 months, then you prune. Once you have pruned with the technique which we have developed that is recommended, then after 2 weeks after pruning, they produce new shoots and they produce flowers. After 4.5 to 5 months, you get a crop. So there is a possibility of getting 2 crops per year, depending on when you prune. And also to make sure that fruits are not beyond the reach of whoever would be harvesting. So once you have removed the unnecessary stalks, you cut the top to maintain the height. Then the other thing, to stimulate production of a new crop, you need to do what we call defoliation. In very cold areas, defoliation can occur naturally, but in areas where it's not very cold, you may need to do hard defoliation. Hard defoliation just means once you have removed the unnecessary shoots, then you remove all the leaves, because these shoots have inhibitory hormones which will not allow new shoots and flowers to come up. So to remove that inhibition, you have to remove them, and you are left with bare stems. So when now you have done that, these bare stems will produce new shoots and flowers at the same time. For apples, the recommended spacing is actually 4 meters between the plants and 4 meters between the rows. So it's 4 by 4. You can, if the soils are not very fertile, that spacing can be reduced to 3 meters between the plants and 3 meters between the plants. Apples do not have very many diseases, but there is one that farmers should know about. This is called powdery mildew disease. It comes when it's humid, during humid condition. It can cause quite a lot of losses, but there are fungicides available for control, so farmers should not worry so much about the disease, so long as they know it exists and they are able to identify the symptoms and they can apply appropriate fungicides. The other challenge which is not here is actually mites. Mites can also cause some losses because they suck a lot of sap from the crop. We have a suitable miticide available in the market, and once farmers have seen mites infestation, they should apply integrated pest management, and that should be able to manage the pest. Those are the only major challenges we have in terms of pests and diseases. Farmers who have the old varieties, we can, there is already a technology for improving them, which is called top working. So you just need to cut back, and then the new sprout from the old variety can be grafted with these superior ones. And within 1 to 2 years, that plant is already in production. So you don't have to start from establishment stage. You can just use your old trees, and then with that technology they can be improved, and within a very short time you are able to get these new Brightburn and these other better varieties.
Demand ya apple iko very high because, for example, mwenye napelekea leo nilikuwa nimemuuzia jana, so kumpigia asubuhi akaniambia ni kama amemaliza na anataka zingine.
From the market survey we carried out, red varieties are more popular than green ones. The other advantage with the red varieties is that they have higher level of vitamin A, which is very important for young children and even adults in terms of improving the eyesight. And it's a very important vitamin for healthy growth. That's why we would like to promote it, because an apple a day will keep a doctor away. So that's why we have gone, but that does not completely rule out the green types maybe in future. For 1 acre, a farmer would plant around 450 trees. Each tree has a potential of producing about 200 fruits per season. So we are talking of, if we talk of 2 seasons, we are talking of 900 fruits from a single tree per year. If we calculate with an estimate of 200 fruits per tree, then we are talking of 90,000 fruits per season. If we sell at a very conservative price of 20 shillings, but I know they can cost more because they are bigger, then it means that farmer would make around 1.8 million per season. Really make good money out of apple production. The cost of production is not so high because after establishment, this is an orchard that will be there for even 50 years. Apple is an ideal crop. It's a climate smart crop. The goodness with apple is that it is quite drought tolerant. Once it has established, it can do with minimal irrigation. Just the rainfall would sustain it. And it is not likely to fail to produce every season, even if there is some level of drought. So it's a crop that can be adopted by farmers as we experience climate change. This is a crop that can do very well, even in areas where rainfall has become quite unreliable. Yeah, farmers can come to Kalro HRI. We have seedlings. We are selling at 400 shillings each, and they are available, and they will get all the required information on how to produce them, what to do, and they will get some handout on the information on the requirement in the field. Apple production is a profit.